What's going on, guys? Back for another video. Today is a real exciting day. So we have the R back here, and we are about to do a little mod to it. So it's going to be probably my most exciting mod to date, probably because it's my only real mod to date. I mean, all I got is the side markers and the rock guards, so nothing real major. So we're about to put a mod on it that is going to do absolute justice to this car. We have wheels. Just kidding. No, it's an intake and a work box, but I thought it was cool because it had work wheels on it, and I'm like, oh, legit wheels. Whatever. So we are going to take, this is a PRL high volume intake. Got it on pre-order, just received it from Evasive. Thank you, Evasive, for all your hard work getting it out to me. And so we're gonna go ahead and pull it out the box, pull out stock intake, throw it in, and we're gonna drive it around and test it out. So I think it's only proper if we do this thing and unboxing. So we're gonna go ahead and cut the box open. Go. Let's take a look. Here she is. All packaged up and pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and guess that this is the box. Oh yeah, it's definitely the box. Here is the, guessing this is the pipe from the box to the metal intake pipe. And then here we're gonna have our filter. And let's see, there's gotta be some hardware. Oh, there's some PRL stickers. Heck yeah. Some hardware here. And let's see what else we've got in here. Some more hardware, clamps, all the goodies. Here we are in the engine bay of the R, looking almost brand spanking new still. There's like not even a speck of dust on the cover. Anyways, so we got the stock intake here with the inlet pipe with the air box, and then the inlet area here. Obviously this is the ECU, and then that's a battery, if you're unfamiliar with the Type R engine bay. So basically what we're going to do here is I believe we're going to pull this off. I'm not 100% sure, but we may have to extend the wires here, or they may include a connector extender. And obviously we have to pull out the air box and all the little goodies here to put the new stuff in. So I guess this is going to be sort of how to install. I mean, there's probably a couple of those out there, but I figured I'd make my own, so let's get to it. So I guess I got a little ahead of myself here. First thing we're going to do is prep the filter and the air box together with the MAF housing. So first thing you want to do is take the adapter. You're going to put it onto the filter, clamp down the hose clamp, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this and the MAF housing, and then we're going to put them together in the air box to prep it before we go ahead and put it in. So that's first step. So now that you have your cover off of your air box, what you're going to want to do is take your intake air filter, carefully move it into the box. Okay, that wasn't really carefully, but it's hard to do this one-handed. And you're going to grab your MAF housing, and basically what it's going to do is it's going to go on the other side. You're going to slip the 4 Allen bolts through there. They're going to tighten onto the filter side through here, and it's going to pull everything nice and snug. So one suggestion I have for you guys, if you had a little bit of trouble like I'm having right now, is I can't get, once I put the filter on and then try to get the MAF housing on, I can't quite get the screws to line up because the holes are in slightly improper locations that are giving me just a tiny bit of trouble, like literally less than a millimeter of trouble trying to get them through to screw into the filter side. So basically what I did was stick a screwdriver in there and just rotate it around a couple times just to widen that hole just a little bit to give me the extra clearance that I have so that I don't strip any bolts and trying to get in there. So I had one suggestion to PRL, if they ever watch this, is maybe check in with the holes on here, as it seems like I'm having a little bit of trouble, and maybe some other people are too. Maybe mine's just weird, but I figured I'd give that as a tip in case anybody else is having the same problem. All right, just like that, here she is all assembled. So there's the filter assembly that I was talking about there. Then we got the MAF assembly right there. So everything's all bolted up, ready to go. So I believe that takes care of the airbox prep. And now that we're done with that, we're going to start by removing this guy. My apologies, missed one step on the airbox prep. Going to want to put that bracket in on the back. It will come in the little baggie with the 4 separate areas. And you'll take the screws that are right there on the back and attach the bracket. Which should clip in right there once we put the airbox in. But now that we're done with that, airbox prep is all ready. Time to remove the stock one. So first thing you're going to want to do is unplug the MAF sensor, which is as simple as going like that. Then what we're going to want to do is pull the harness. I'm not even sure what to call this thing, like harness guide, I guess. So we're going to pull that out, let that air over to the side. And we're going to take the MAF sensor. We're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. Probably going to use this guy. We're going to pull him out and set him with the new airbox. Wow, that guy's really in there. Wow, that was pretty intense. Take this guy out, set him with the new airbox, and then we'll move on to the next. So next thing you're gonna wanna do once that's all out of the way, there's 2 10mm bolts here, one here, and then one, you can see it all the way right there down to the right in between the ECU and the airbox. You're gonna pull those 4, and then we'll move on. So once you got all 4 of those bolts out, next thing you're going to want to do is remove this guy right here. You can see there's little clips right here. So if you just grab it and pull out the bottom of the clip, it comes right out. And I think there's a couple of them. Let's see if I can get this one. There we go. You can see there's another one right here. Right here. Oh wow, there's a lot of them. You want to be very careful with these little clips. They're very fragile. You can break them, you can pull the rubber out. So you can see there's slightly different ones. These ones are more snap in. These ones go in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes down here. And then these ones are more like a press in into the rubber up here. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them up here. And just, like I said, be very careful pulling them out. Normally just grab them right at the base, like right here. And then if you kind of use a third finger to press them out through there, because you can see where they would come in the bottom. Just kind of press it out and they'll come out nice and easy. So now we've got the rubber piece off. We're going to start by removing this inlet pipe here. So what you're going to want to do is start on this side and this side. So you're going to pull the hose clamp here and the hose clamp here. I like to use the socket instead of the screwdriver. This is a 5.5mm. So it's very, very small. And these are very tight on this bar, so I tried using a screwdriver at first just for ease because I had one out. And it was starting to strip, so definitely don't want to use that. I want to be able to preserve the screw at least, so if you've got a 5.5mm, make your life much easier. You can see how it just comes right out rather than having to strip out the end of the screw. So take those out and then we'll pull the pipe off the box, pull the box out, and then we'll work on getting these 2 things out, pull the pipe out, and then we'll be just about ready to slap the PRL in. All right, so before we get too far, I'm gonna show you the little trick that I used. So I loosened both of these hose clamps, pulled both ends of this off, and then in order to get this off, this hose clamp is a little interesting. As you can see, there's like no way to loosen it basically. So you gotta use a little bit of brute force, so pull it off. Just grab the thing right here and grab the other side here. Just pry it apart with some strength and make sure to be careful as to not rip any of the other lines and stuff over on this side, but it will come loose. Just gotta use a little bit of force and you'll get that thing right off without having to pull the clamp. All right, so we have the inlet pipe out. I just had to remove those 2 10mm bolts on this guy right here and pull it right out. And after that, all we get to do is give the intake box a little bit of a wiggle. So after loosening the bolt down there just a little bit more and giving it a good tug, get it off this little post, we have officially exposed the area. We're just about ready. All we have to do on this box is on the back side here. You can see we have the little rubber grommet piece for where that back bolt was going to go. So what you're going to want to do is pull this out, as this is going to be reused on the new intake. Metal holder with a screwdriver, and then you can pull the rubber piece out right after that super easily. All you're going to want to do after pulling that is just repeat in reverse order. Install the rubber piece, and then press in the holder right there, and you'll be all set. Next thing you're going to want to do is pull this rubber locator grommet out with that same rubber grommet for the locator pin. These 2 little Allen screws right here. and we're going to take these and install the MAF sensor into the new billet housing on the new airbox. So as you can see, I've already put the sensor in over here. Sorry. There we go. Now I have put the sensor in over here. The connector is supposed to be facing this way. PRL logo up here, connector on the opposite side. And then we're just going to thread these 2 screws in. Then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so for the next step, what I had to do was pull the casing off of the MAF sensor wire, as it's now going to be routed this way and up and over instead of, well, maybe like this, but either way, it can't have the casing due to where it's going. So what you're gonna have to do is, you can see on the casing, there are these little press tabs. They come in through here. So what you're gonna wanna do is press them out with a screwdriver. I'll pop one back in just so I can show you. You can see right here, a little bit of a tab there. Press that down with the screwdriver and press these out. I think this was the hardest part. Honestly, I'd say this requires the most perseverance out of the entire install. I mean, just trying not to break these and throw this thing and stab yourself and rip the wires off. It's fairly easy as long as you just enter with a calm mind, knowing it's going to take a little while. So take your time with that. Try not to break the wires, try not to break that. And once you get it out, you're going to take the piece of wire loom that PRL provides you and slip it over there, because as you can see, we have exposed wire now. So just to keep the look as OEM as possible, I actually elected to tape the entire wire. So as you can see down here on the stock loom, there is already electrical tape. So I went ahead and electrical taped it all the way up, and looks pretty dang factory if I do say so myself, minus the little bit of a bulge we got here in the middle for the slightly larger loom that PRL gives you, but I just think it makes it look a lot better and, you know, less of a color difference. So pretty happy with that. If you have the time and resources, I definitely recommend doing that. So the next thing you're going to want to do with the harness is route it up here in the front and then around the bottom right there, and then just secure it in between those wires right there, because our next step is to pop the airbox in. Thing I wanted to note on the initial test fit I did, I actually realized that I installed this bracket upside down, I guess, even though it's right side up. This piece right here should actually be flipped to where this is on the bottom side. Otherwise, it's too tall and you won't be able to screw it into. All right, guys, as you can see, we officially have the PRL airbox in the car. So you can see right down there at the very bottom, the little pop connector, whatever you want to call that thing. You want to make sure you pop that into the airbox so it doesn't wiggle around. As you can see, it's pretty dang secure, and I do not have any of the screws in there yet. So you want to make sure you hear that little click when you push down. Once you get the airbox in, you can see that everything fits very well. Once it gets adjusted properly, I mean, everything's going to fit very nicely. Got the MAF sensor plugged in, and then we're going to move on, and we're going to take care of securing the box. We're also going to put the inlet pipe in, and then we're going to give it a start, and we're going to do some sounds. So I'm going to keep the box loose just for the little bit of wiggle room when trying to do the fitment. So next on our list is to install the PRL pipe. So what we're going to do is grab our hose clamps. We'll need one on this side, one on this side, one for this nipple and one for this nipple. And we're going to put the adapter on for this right here. And then we're going to get a hose clamp for this. And we will be installing this pipe, and then we'll be bolting this up, adding the little heat shield, whatever you want to call that, rubber piece, and we're pretty much ready to go. So I'm electing to install the billet adapter first. All you're gonna do, slide it on here, press it up and over that O-ring, which I may have to do with 2 hands, let's see. Yep, gonna have to do that with 2 hands as well. Press it up and over that O-ring, and then you're going to screw the OEM screws, these 2 guys, back into this. And then once that is done, you can grab both of your hose clamps for these, secure both of these, then you can install the pipe with the provided hose clamps on both sides of the inlet. All right, so we've got the adapter on here. I ended up having to use the force of the screws to push the adapter on, as I was just unable to get it over the O-ring. When you're putting the screws in, be sure to alternate back and forth, otherwise you run the chance of possibly bending this. It's unlikely, but it's a possibility. And you just want to make sure you don't strip these screw holes. If you all the way tighten this side and then all the way tighten this side, you want to alternate between the two just to keep it nice and level and even. All right, guys, here it is, officially installed. PRL intake. on the 2019 Honda Civic Type R. So, a couple of things I wanted to go over real quick. As per usual, have the little gap. I guess that's a little bit of a problem with the little pipe PRL includes. It's got a little bit of a gap over here. It's a little bit too short. Everybody's been having a problem with it. It's not a huge deal. Would have been nice if it aligned properly, but no biggie. One thing I did want to mention was I suggest putting these two in first. So you want to put this one in and then this one in and then tighten both of those clamps before installing the two outer edges. I rotated this just slightly because it was contacting this hose slash little pipe back here. The billet adapter, as you can see back there, is contacting it just a little bit, and in the natural position of wanting to be straight, it's contacting it a bit more, so I rotated it to try and hopefully relieve some of that tension. Even though, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, it's just going to contact with this specific setup. And then I put this side on. I actually did pop the box back off of its little centering pin right there, just so I could get this side back on. It took a little bit of wrestling, but eventually I was able to pop it right back on the pin, get that all tightened up, and now we're here. All right, guys, here it is. Got the intake tightened up here and back here. I believe we did away with the bolt down. Yep, we did away with the bolt down there. No longer needed for this this type of intake. And I went ahead and put the little paneling back on, the air seal, and we are all set. All right, guys, first start up with the PRL intake. Let's do it. There we go. She is on. Oh, yes. You hear that little is very, very, very minimal on cold start, but I'm sure once the turbo starts spooling, it'll be loud. Maybe a tiny bit of extra noise off the exhaust, slightly deeper tone, but it's also probably just the butt dyno effect. Wait for it to get off a cold start and we'll give it a couple revs. Okay guys, I'm actually like super happy with this intake. It sounds really good. Oh, I can't wait to show you a little sound clip. Here we go. A lot louder than stock. There you have it, guys. There's the PRL high volume intake system installed on the 2019 Honda Civic Type R. Sounds really good. I love the whoosh noises and obviously the blow-offs that it makes. Very interesting how when you press the throttle, you can hear just a little bit of the throttle body opening. It makes like a little bit of a chirp noise almost when you hear it opening. It's pretty cool, and a lot more volume out of the system. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like if you were to hear it in person, you'd hear there's just like a little bit more of a deep tone coming out the exhaust, and the engine makes a bit more noise overall. So overall, great intake. Thanks for watching. This was a how-to video on installing the PRL high volume intake system. You guys should definitely stay tuned. We got a lot more coming to the channel, more mods, more hangouts, more fun stuff. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Please leave a thumbs up if you liked the video. Definitely smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, notified of new videos that come out, and enjoy your time, browse the other videos, and see you guys in the next one. Peace out.